Hey, it's another day of recovery. My name is Erik Bohlin. I'm a clinical therapist that works with people, helping with anxiety, depression, addiction, recovery, and codependency, the whole dysfunctional stuff. Today, we're going to talk about how to get out of someone's life. What I mean by that is when we step over boundaries, when we start to focus on someone else's life to the point where it's dysfunctional and it's irritating to them. And often it results in a chasing. The more that I try to step over someone's life, the more they are trying to avoid me. Oh, let me help you. Let me help you. And it's a common problem I see. So these are some questions for us to kind of reflect and meditate on. um, I think a good one is like boundaries. Whose territory is this? Like, whose space is this? If it's their territory, like this is their house, this is their car, these are their clothes. If I'm feeling responsible for their finances, feeling responsible for the way their yard looks, and it's like, well, when would this be a thing? Well, say like a parent who's has grown up children and they go to visit the children and they look, wow, the yard looks like that. Feeling energy about maybe they could be doing something different with their yard is kind of crossing boundaries. It's like, whose yard is this? This is not my yard. This is not my car. These are not my children. This is not my pet. And so, if we have that inflated sense of self that feels like we are somewhat responsible or somewhat needing to give advice, that would be crossing of boundaries. Okay. And then there's obvious ones which aren't so obvious to others, but say like someone's giving advice in terms of health. It's not my health issue. It's not my body. It's not my doctor visit. Okay. Another derivative of this is, and it's real simple, whose problem is this? Not my problem. And that may be a nice thing you say over and over to yourself. This is not my problem. This is not my problem. My kid is maybe 14. Now I may feel somewhat responsible for some things, but if they have like an emotional problem or friendship problems, if I take their problem as though it's mine, it confuses it. It's not my friends who are picking on me, it's the kids who are picking on my child. So it actually does a disservice to try to take other people's problems and make them your own. In one full swoop, we end up not focusing on our own problems. And then we're now trying to give advice or to help or to feel or to deal with situations that are beyond our control. It's not, these are not my decisions to make, not my decisions. They, and then not my skills to learn either. Children need to learn certain skills to be able to be successful adults. If I do things for them, they won't learn the skill. Say like a paying bills or going to school, getting up, going to school on time, getting things ready, all that. Am I letting them solve their own problems? So if I acknowledge that it's their problem, then it's their problem to solve. It's not my problem to solve. So I had a situation with a family member and they're solving their own problem. I can assist. I can sit there and say, if you want advice, this is what I did when this happened. But I sit there and it's not my problem. And it's kind of nice. Um, People that suffer from this often pick up everybody's problems in a 5 mile radius. And then they wonder why they're depressed and anxious and not functioning well and not sleeping well. So letting people have their own problems and letting them solve their own problems is really good. A 3-year old has their own problems. Say, like they're frustrated, they don't know how to ride a bike and they're trying to ride a bike, or they're not able to deal with that. We're leaving, it's time for us to leave. So let's put the toys away. They're upset. They want to stay. It's not my problem, or grief or sadness, the fact that we're leaving, it's their problem, and they will learn skills through the practice of that, how to deal with that. But if I feel guilty or, oh, I don't want to make waves, I don't want them to be upset, or I will so manipulate to the situation where they never really have to have any grief because I've already given them so option, like, okay, it's time to leave. Here's your cookie in the car, so that they have one long, non-stressful life. They're not going to have enough emotional immune system to deal with life. So am I letting them solve their own problems? This is an excellent one for those with addiction. I get a number of people, and some people call, and it's really innocent where, well, I don't like the word innocent because it implies people are guilty, but they call, they're trying to call for a family member, a boyfriend, girlfriend. So I kind of inwardly smile and say, well, I don't really schedule appointments for people that aren't their own self. They have to have enough of the problem to call and say, I'm not doing well. Then it's very clean and simple. Talk about what my fees are, what their motivation is, whether everything lines up, insurance. Um, but it's their problem they're coming to fix. Now, parents might bring their younger children in or teenagers in, but technically, the older they are, the more it's their problem. It's not my problem. And so, as a therapist, it's not my problem to fix what their issues are. Do I feel bad when some people are having some hardships? Absolutely. My heart kind of feels really sad, sometimes concerned, and even sometimes worried, but it's not my problem. So if someone else has cancer, I love people. I want them to heal. I want to do anything to support them, but it's technically not my cancer. The loss of, the potential loss of a marriage, a lot of times comes from these boundary crossings. People are trying to fix each other, trying to make them change so that the marriage can be better. So then, if I try to help them change in the same way that I'm doing the same kind of medicine, so I kind of sit back and reflect on what's the biggest challenge and what are the patterns and the dances, and then from there, I just offer questions like, I wonder about the pattern here, or I wonder about if someone's over functioning and someone's under functioning. Uh, if I start using phrases like you need to do this or you need to back down and you need to do this, then I feel like I'm a director trying to direct a show, which kind of reminds us of the AA book. The director wants to run the whole show. It usually doesn't turn out well. Yeah, usually doesn't. And I might go, people, work with me. Here's your script. Here. Now you do those lines and show it with more emotion. I really love you, Erik. That doesn't work. Manipulating the world. Um, so we let go. We trust the process. We trust God. We trust that people have the ability to solve their own problems. I think the other thing is if we help the world at large in a compulsive helping, and it's giving them the message they can't solve their own problems. So I think struggle is good. Now it's really different when someone asks, hey, can you help me with this? I'm drawing a blank, or I'm not sure what to do here. Or a small kid says, can you help me? I can't get my coat on, or I don't want to go to school. I'm scared. It's still their problem, but we can assist. How is my thinking about someone else's life going to help? This is an interesting one. Some of us struggle with being other focused. We focused on our spouse, we focus on our children. I probably have heard a couple of people say, I just want them to be happy. And that's an interesting idea because it's really having a plan for someone else's life to want someone else to be happy or to not be happy. Like, who am I to even want something for someone else? It's like going through a smorgasbord line and I'm ordering for my family member. Oh, they like chicken and they like, oh, no, they don't like peas, but they'll like the carrots. It's like, this feels funny to me. It's not my life, it's their life. And so thinking about them as they're going through like a surgery, that could be nice, thoughts go out with you, or prayers. But if there's too much of something, you'll feel the pain of the surgery. I've done that. Um, then I don't feel like I have enough life energy to live my life. So letting go of someone else's life. This is meant to be kind of a joke. What does God and a codependent both have in common for you? They both have a plan for your life, and God's is optional. So there's this sense that God has really good boundaries. He's not going to manipulate our life to his liking. He offers us life. We either accept it or we reject it. And that's okay in the sense that he would want us to choose the right thing, but it's not our life. He's given us our life, our decision, our choice to choose something or not. So that's really a gift. And that's why people say, well, why is there tough things and evil in the world? If free will exists, then that means in marriage, let's just stick with marriage, that my wife, or if you're married, your spouse gets to choose how they want to live their life. Yeah. And people go, but you're married, you choose something as a gathering, like a togetherness, I'm not just going to go on a vacation without asking my wife. This is true, but technically we each have our life, and we can either submit our lives to one another, hopefully towards God, or we're not. But we don't lose ourselves. We don't become so blended that we lose who we are. And now I don't have a life, and that's whatever you want my life to be. That would be slavery. That would be slavery. Speaking of slavery, am I doing something for them that they could do for themselves? Yeah, am I making sandwiches for them out of love and concern? Well, they technically can make their own sandwiches. So the question is this healthy? Is this helpful to them? I think it's a nice gesture to bring a cup of coffee to someone, or to ask, hey, do you want me to take out the trash? Or, um, what would you want? Even gifts are are great, and I think necessary. But the other side of things is there something I can do it, they can do it, but somehow I'm doing it. And so do I need to let go of that task and let them do something for themselves? And would that be better? So this could be healthcare, making phone calls to the doctor. This could be cleaning up after them, cooking for them, driving for them, even though you're not actually in the driver's seat, they're behind the wheel. But I'm thinking for them where they should turn and what they should do. Should I get us a gift to so and so, a family member, from both of us? I think just asking, hey, I was thinking of getting this. What do you think about that? I think that's fine. But when we do things like the gift just magically appears, why? Because I know my wife will always have it. It's probably not healthy. Am I trying to change the way they think? This is fascinating. I think we've had 2 years of that. People not being able to just see that people are separate. Some people are going to wear a mask. Some people are not going to wear a mask. Some people want to get vaccinated. Some people don't want to get vaccinated. Some people are going to stay home from an outing because they just want to be extra safe. And some people are going to go live their life to the fullest. Not that you can't live your life to the fullest at home, but just not being able to appreciate the differences. And in essence, it boils down to my way is right. My version of what happened in the last 2 years is right. I think the other challenge is when we had people telling us what to think, how to believe. And if you didn't believe the same way, it was a bad deal. Can we be friends and have different opinions about things? And is my motive to try to change how they think? And this is so subtle. I'm going to get some water here. So subtle. Let's take just a simple difference of opinion when it comes to what happened. Am I trying to change how they interacted? Like I may say, no, that's not what happened. You did this. That's trying to change the way they think versus just offering, well, this is my understanding of what happened. You said we would go to the store first, then to the movie theater. But a crossing of boundaries, I can't appreciate the difference in thinking. No, you didn't say that. So I try to change how they think about even a scenario versus just let them think. Notice the word let them think. How about different religious beliefs? Everybody who has a religion, I'm sure, perceives that that religion is true to them. Why? Because they wouldn't pick a religion that they wouldn't believe in. Um, so having discussions about it can be passionate. I think it's healthy in many ways just to understand someone else's religion and to see it for what it is. And it may not be something I convert to, or maybe we convert to it because it's something that we feel led to. So being able to just let people think for how they want to think. And actually, I did hear this recently. Someone says, you can't think that way. You can't think that that's funny. It's like, but I do. Like, so the thought police, I think we need to really think about, no pun intended, think about, do we really want thought police in our life? Do I have too much emotional reaction over someone else's decision that doesn't affect me directly? So this is just everywhere. If someone's dating someone you don't particularly care for, and you go, how can they do that? And we have a reaction to it. Can I let them date whoever they date? They obviously find this person attracted to them. Does it affect me directly? Well, it could. If their new date treats me poorly, then yeah, that's between me and them. But if it's just someone I don't imagine them with, that's interesting. Like there's that plan for someone else's life. Say like someone's eating and doing something that could result in a gut ache or a stomach ache. Am I having too much reaction about that? Or just let them eat the way they want to eat. And when they have a gut ache, if they do, it's their problem. It's not my problem. If they want to not wash their car and get it dirtier and dirtier, and in theory, say like something bad happens to the car because of it, it's not my car. So having reactions to other people's behavior or decisions that don't really affect me. Now, someone's decision that affects me, that's not necessarily a boundary crossing. This, I think, is interesting. Do I have trouble listening to others, to them? Can I just listen? Just absorb? I think 12-step groups are there to help us get sobriety, it seems, obviously. But there is another benefit, is just going into a group of 10 people and listening to what they have to say. Go with the approach to I want to listen versus I want to share. And often if we're sharing while someone else is talking, or I'm thinking about what I want to say before I even listen to them, like I wonder if we have a little wrist bracelet that can measure how much did you listen to the conversation. Or was I thinking of something else about what I could say that I think could be helpful? Yeah, listening could be a pathway to love. Do I have a hard time understanding their point of view or appreciating their point of view? This would be a good, I call it fun, because I think it's important for it to be fun and playful. Try to step into their shoes, see the world from their world viewpoint. Try to pretend to be them. If I have a hard time understanding things other than just my own point of view, I probably have a problem. Unless everybody just agrees with me. But sooner or later, people may go, they don't feel any connection because I'm really not understanding their point of view. I can only see my point of view. Like, say, like, and this is very simplistic, but let's go to the farmer's market before we go clean the yard, like mow the lawn. And, you know, I feel like I want to do it afterwards. I want to get the yard work done first. Okay. But I might ask, so I'm curious, what does that do for you to want to, go to the market first? They may say, because it's going to close. Or there's not going to be enough vegetables or fruits that are high quality. Or I was going to eat breakfast there. And so just trying to understand their point of view. But if I'm brain locked into, I just don't want to have fun before I've actually done my work. But I think it requires letting go of our view to be able to just understand, just step in their shoes, pretend to be them, pretend you're a role in a movie. That's how good actors and actresses do that, is they step into the character and they become that character. Otherwise, it would be kind of like play acting. It wouldn't be that serious. Last but not least, and we may do more of these, can I let them be sick? Can I let them be emotionally sick, physically sick, spiritually sick? Like, just let them. And the key word is let, as if I had the power to let them do anything. But it's a choice of words that has to do with relinquishing control and just see them as separate human beings, see them as people worthy to do things how they want to do them. And now if someone's saying, please help me, I'd like advice, I have a gut ache or a stomach ache, what can I do? I might say, this is what's worked for me. But there's also patterns where people say, help me, help me, help me. Then it's like, well, have you tried this? Oh, well, I don't want to do that. So it's kind of like, I want help, but I don't want help from you. And so that could be a game. That could be, is they're asking for help, 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 really what they're asking for? Or are they wanting a little argument? And if we're on the other side of that, it's like, okay, I can share with you what worked for me, but it's not my problem. Oh. It's not my problem, it's their problem. So I can't fix their problems for them. I can just say, this is what worked for me. This is how I overcame my sinus infection. But to feel like I got to go get the box of medicine, the drink of water, the honey lemon tea, and nurture them, if they kind of say, hey, that would be nice. And we do that usually when people are down and out. I've seen it where addicts actually carry addicts almost literally to meetings. I used to kind of balk at this. I said, hey, um, you can't carry the addict, you can only carry the message. Um, there are people that say, I'm alive today because my sponsor called me up and said, we're going to a meeting. Come on, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm just like, okay. And they said, no, it really helped. And it did. They're alive today. They're sober, multiple years. So it makes me wonder if there's a time and place to step over boundaries and not let people be sick. Um, if someone's stuck in a river, I don't have to wait to ask, would you want help with that? you know? If someone looks like they're being physically assaulted in public, can I just say, well, that's not my problem? Yeah, no, it could be my problem in that I won't be able to live with myself to know I could have done something to prevent someone's brutal beating. So these are meant to be useful. If we go hard line with these and I'll never do that, that is usually not helpful. Like, I think there's a time to say, well, this is our problem. This is what we do. If someone has a problem, it's become ours now. not maybe the same level, but we're affected by it. That would be like saying, "Ha ha, your end of the boat is sinking," and it's like, life doesn't work that way. We bear one another's burdens. That's a Bible verse for those that are interested in that, because Christ did that for us. But then just a few verses later, it says each person should bear his own load. This is Galatians 6, I believe. So, cool stuff. This has helped a lot to just say these things to myself, to have some reminder, whether it's on a little card you pull out or a wrist bracelet or something to remind you, you know, this is not my problem, it's someone else's problem. And you'll actually be closer to people the more you stay out of their life. It's paradoxical, but it really does work. You take care and have a great day.